Good day, everyone. My name is Charles Malaba. I'm an Assistant Director in the Department of Health Services, Bulawayo City Council. I'm going to share with the Bulawayo residents and our stakeholders the state of solid waste management in terms of challenges and various strategies which we are employing as a city to overcome those challenges. But before I delve into that, I would like to give an overview of the department. Health Service Department comprises of personal health, which basically is curative health services, and we are having 19 clinics and 1 hospital, which is called Thorncroft. I think people will know of it, and this is where we're dealing with the treatment of people who are already ill. That is where we have the staff like doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and others. Then we have got environmental health branch. Environmental health branch, we have got 4 sections, namely inspectorate, where we've got environmental health officers and environmental health technicians who are mainly dealing with enforcement of public health legislation. That's talking about inspection of shops, licensing of shops, making sure that the shops are operating within public health legislation. Then we have got cemeteries and cremations. Cemeteries and cremations, currently we're running operating 2 cemeteries, namely Mvucha and Lofeve Cemetery. The other cemeteries like West Park, Lady Stanley have been decommissioned, but you find that burials also take place, especially where graves have been reserved prior. Then we have got pest control, where the section which deals with pests of public health concern, like mosquitoes, rodents, etc. I'm talking about those pests which can spread disease. Then we have got solid waste management. Solid waste management, as earlier alluded to, I'm going to dwell much on this one. You find that the city is charged with making sure the refuse is properly managed. That is, refuse is supposed to be efficiently collected, refuse is supposed to be properly disposed of. But as I earlier alluded to, we are facing various challenges in terms of efficiently doing that. The challenges which we have is the shortage of refuse trucks. We also have got shortage of equipment at the central landfill for properly managing the waste once it's taken to the disposal site. Ideally, for us to service the city properly, we need at least 25 compactor trucks. But currently, we have got 14 which are serviceable, and at any given time, there are not more than 10 which are running to service the whole city. So if we had those 25, there was not going to be any need to contract out. It was going to service the city with those schedules of weekly in all residential areas, daily in the central business district, daily at the commercial centers. Because this is informed, the daily and weekly is informed by the rate of waste generation in those areas. Waste is normally generated in 3 different ways. You find that the domestic activities, which is our day-to-day chores at household level, which produce waste, and this waste is called domestic waste. And also we've got industrial waste, which is produced by or generated by industrial activities. We also have got commercial waste. This is waste generated by the operations of commercial businesses, even schools, colleges, hotels, and the markets. And the markets even produce more waste, especially during the time when they have vegetables and fruits. You find that waste is a challenge to manage in terms of storage before removal, and also the removal part, since I said we've got a challenge of vehicles, then that waste, the problem with it is that it easily decomposes, and there could be smell nuisances and fly breeding. So that waste is supposed to be always removed on time. And our system is such a way that we are supposed to remove waste from residential areas on a weekly basis. We're supposed to remove waste from the commercial areas on a daily basis. We're supposed to remove waste from the industry at least fortnightly. But currently, because of the challenges of shortages I talked about, we are finding it very difficult to cope with that. But since we are not alone on this one, their stakeholders are also concerned with the cleanness of the city, because a clean city does not give a good picture of the city and the people who are dwelling in that city. So stakeholders also come in. For example, we've got shortage of bins in the CPD, and stakeholders have always come in and donated bins so that at least the waste can be kept before it's collected. Then, but at the moment, we're also managing to collect waste in the CPD, not daily, but maybe weekly. But we find that we end up doing it over the weekends. Then low density areas were still managing to collect weekly, but high density areas, we came up with some strategies to alleviate the shortage of vehicles by contracting out to truckers. And these trucks are actually contracted through tender system, and they're given contracts where they'll be collecting waste in low density areas. Because these are open trucks, I think you've seen them, the likelihood of them, as they are collecting waste to a certain point, further polluting the environment by waste being blown out of the moving trucks. We insist that all waste in those areas is supposed to be put in bags, and so that waste is confined. There's no likelihood of waste blowing or flying off the moving vehicles. So that one is one of the strategies which we are using or employing to make sure that we were keeping up with this schedule to collect waste weekly in high density areas as well. This was meant to alleviate the shortage of transport. You find that we are now using fewer vehicles to go and collect waste at a central point. Those truckers go into the houses and collect refuse to a central point where our truck refuse is emptied or floated into our truck. Our truck is the one who's goes to the landfill. The reason why we do that is because at the landfill, there are many risks to a vehicle. Because we are not compacting currently, we find that the trucks can be stuck at the landfill. Also, you find that there are metal objects which normally damage the vehicle tires, in that the contractors could not take that. So as City Council, it is our responsibility to make sure that waste is taken to landfill. So we are taking that risk. So we didn't want to risk the truckers' trucks. That's why we're saying our trucks are the ones which take refuse to the landfill. But it does help us because it shortens the distance for us. Our truck is saved in terms of wear and tear because it doesn't work much in terms of braking, turning, stopping to collect bins, but it goes to a central point. So basically we are saving on the lifespan of the truck. Then we have heard that residents are complaining about these truckers who coming either too early, others not collecting some areas, but this is a contract, and they are being supervised by our staff, our cleansing supervisors, who are employed to make sure that waste is collected. And at the end of the month, they're supposed to be giving us a report on the performance of each trucker. And once we get such complaints, we do engage the truckers' consent. But I'm not so sure about how early. We encourage truckers, even our trucks, to make sure they collect waste at least from 6. I think people will be up by 6. Definitely anytime before 6, you find that people will still be sleeping. But if it's late again, some will want to make sure that as they go to work, they would have returned their bins into the house. So really 6 is a fair time. That is both for our truck and our contracted trucks. So, but from time to time we engage them. People are free to raise those complaints, and I think it's much better for them to raise it as it happens. Because some will leave waste uncollected, we normally ask them or tell them to go back and collect. But if they collect after some time, so complain after some time, it is hard to take corrective measures. I encourage people to make a complaint as it happens. They've got numbers for supervisors or the director of health services or assistant director myself. My number or our numbers are public. They are not supposed to be secret, so they can call us anytime. So those are the strategies, one of such we employ. And also for sweeping of the streets, you know that labor is expensive. So to reduce the cost, labor cost, we also in the residential areas contracted out the sweeping of the streets to community groups. These are groups who are contracted. They are not council employees. As a result, we are reducing labor cost as these people are expected to provide their own protective clothing. They are expected to, we are not paying them any medical aid and the related costs, so we are reducing costs, but we are still getting a service. And as I talked about the donations of bins, we know that there are these national cleanups whereby every first Friday or every month, it was through the declaration by the president that there shall be cleanups. And we find that many stakeholders, companies, team up with us in those cleanups. And some even even outside that national cleanup, they come in and assist in the national cleanups, in the cleanup of the city. I've talked about the responsibility of the city, but I kept on referring to residents and the stakeholders as well, because the cleanliness of city, as I mentioned, is not the responsibility of Bulawayo City Council and its employees only, but it is for everyone who is dwelling in the city, because the city cannot litter itself, the streets do not litter it themselves. It's us, the residents. Our attitudes towards our city is supposed to change at some stage, because you find that, as I said, a dirty city does not give a good picture of the people who are dwelling in that. It can even affect investment in tourism. No one is going to be interested in visiting or investing in a dirty city, because it may mean that there is chaos. So you find that it's unfortunate that people who learn to be policed, there's no need really to say, I'm afraid of throwing a piece of paper on the street because I'm afraid of being issued a fine or I'm being arrested. It's supposed to be within you to make sure that you don't do that. Because those ones, the fines at the moment are not deterrent at all. The fines are low. I know that Environmental Management Agency, EMA, also have got fines for people who are dumping or people who are littering. We also, as a city, have those fines, but ours are very low. They are not deterrent enough. But I insist that the fines are not the answer. The answer is our attitude. We have to change our attitude. It's our city. There's no one who's supposed to police you. Then we find that some even dump refuse, like maybe rubble, on open spaces. Yes, they are open spaces, but you find that there is no land which doesn't have a usage. But once you dump that, it will be hard to reclaim that land for use in future. So let's discourage each other, let's discourage even ourselves from dumping refuse where it's not supposed to be put. Then the refuse is supposed to be disposed of at a sanitary landfill where it can be managed. And also let's take into cognizance that what we call waste may not necessarily be waste to someone else. It can be useful to someone else. Hence, we encourage people to think of recycling, reusing. For example, if waste was not useful to someone else, if you go to the Santa landfill, those people are not supposed to be there. If you take a walk to Santa landfill and see the activities there, those people who are salvaging what we have thrown away as waste, you realize that there's very little which is called waste. If we engage in recycling, which means we are reducing the amount of waste which is supposed to be taken to the landfill, as I already alluded to the challenges we're having at the landfill, where you don't have landfill equipment. Landfill equipment is supposed to, namely landfill compactor, tipper trucks, and the front-end loader. But those are currently down. As a result, we are not compacting waste on a daily basis, we are not spreading waste on a daily basis, we are not covering. And what it means now, we frequently have some fire outbreaks at the central landfill, and thus polluting the environment, risking the fines by EMA. And mind you, those fines, they are fined to Bulawayo State Council, but Bulawayo State Council doesn't have money. Bulawayo State Council get money from residents, which means that the money Bulawayo State Council pays for those fines is our money. So we can reduce those fines, they reduce the burden on us residents by making sure that we reduce the amount of waste which goes to the landfill. Because at the landfill, as I said, there are fires, there can be also smell nuisances, there can be groundwater pollution. You find that there are people within the vicinity of the central landfill who are using boreholes. And if we are not properly managing the landfill, which means leachate generation is going to be there, which pollute the groundwater and affecting the water or boreholes around the area next to the landfill. So it is very important that we realize that our actions do come to haunt us. So let's manage our environment properly. Let's stop littering. Let's cooperate whenever there are cleanups. It's for our areas, it's for our city. It's not about the declaration from the president, but it's for our city, it's for our area.